with Aloha Authentic.
Aloha and welcome to another episode of Aloha Authentic with Kamakapili. This is actually part 2 of our following episode that we had with local artist Robert King Andia and his amazing series entitled Ancient Hawaii. This episode we're going to get more in depth about a couple pictures in particular with a couple of the models that he had to portray certain characters of this picture. But before we dive into that, I wanted to clear this up and clarify again what we have on the table that you'll be seeing us grinding while you guys are watching the show. We have an open bowl of poi, and we have some poke, and we have some water that we're going to be indulging ourselves as we talk story. The whole point of the open bowl of poi is following what I was raised growing up. My tutu always said that when the bowl of poi is open on the dinner table, no negativity is spoken and everything is just all positive, and all that energy that comes out of you is what's going to get sucked into the food, so it gets sucked into the poi. And if you speak of negative stuff, then the poi is going to sour and it's not going to taste good when you eat it. But if you speak of positive and very healing and creative stories and such, then your poi is going to taste oh so ono. So our food is going to taste ono because we're going to be talking about some amazing stuff today. To jump right into it, again, we have local artist Robert Andia. Mahalo for coming again. Appreciate it. Again. And we also have a couple of his models, Rose and Pomai, who were part of the Papa and Wakea piece, which is also entitled, what, Robert? Origin. So if you look through his series on his website, hawaiiancient.com, then you will be able to see that picture. But let's just jump right back into this. And Robert, share a little bit about what this series and this project really is.
Sure, as we discussed before, Ancient Hawaii is essentially our interpretation of the legends of the profound ancestors of Hawaii. What we did was we tried to capture the essence of the profound ancestors, not necessarily taking any historical event or trying to create any iconic image, but actually taking the essence and incorporating so many different elements of the profound ancestors of Hawaii into one single image. It was done digitally to try and attract a new audience to study the culture, and the goal of it is to perpetuate the culture, promote the culture, in order to try and preserve it and create sustainability for the culture. We want to inspire people to investigate the Hawaiian culture, and that's why these images were created.
Right on.
Plus, I really like doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So what you said before you did this, what was your artistic means of art?
Oh, well, when I was a young guy over here in high school, I was an artist. I actually used to work at Bonham Textiles. I was one of the textile artists. Usually a little bit more fantastical. I was kind of the artists that I really liked were Salvador Dali, Frank Frazetta, Roger Dean. And that's actually one thing that really worked out between myself and the other photographer and Photoshop artist who was on this project, Colin Anderson, because Colin and I both were inspired by the same artists as we were growing up. So I was an artist, and I got into photography because my art teacher told me that I didn't have very good perspective in my art. So I needed to learn how to actually add some
prove you wrong.
some reality to it. So that's why I started shooting, and was fortunate enough to get into a career of photography, travel the world as a fashion and advertising photographer for about 20 years, and live all over the world. And this project has always been in my heart ever since I can remember. Even when I was a little kid, I just didn't know how to create it until now with all the great technological softwares and innovations out there. So it was actually, it's kind of a timely thing. It came about at the right time, so I was able to do it this time.
Right on. Okay, well, we'll show you guys, if we can put on the screen, the first picture, which is the Papa Wakea or Origin. This is the one that actually have Pomai and Rose modeling in. What was your purpose of this picture and your intended message and story?
When I first started doing research on this project, this was the first story that I ever read, because I was reading the Kumulipo. This was the first one that ever really struck me. And so this is actually my favorite image out of the whole series. It's always been the one that's been in my heart most. As soon as I read this story, I visualized this image exactly as you see it. So, except the models are a little bit more beautiful, but you know, other than that. But I visualized it how you see it here.
Aww.
And then when I conceptualized it, this actually looks exactly like the drawing. So it is my favorite image. I love the story behind it. I think it encapsulates everything about what I look at in the Hawaiian legend as a creation, right? The origin of Hawaii, where you have essentially the Earth Mother, or whatever you would like to call Papa, and the Sky Father, which is Wakea, them coming together, and Papa bringing forth the birth of the islands and the Hawaiian people. So I think it's such an important story to start at, and maybe that's what is so profound to me, is that it's kind of the beginning of everything. And then from there I was able to expand into all the other legends from this story.
Right on. So it really is the origin for you in this project.
Yeah, which is, yeah, I didn't even think about that before, but yeah, it is the origin. It's the
Right
origin
on.
of the project, and it's the, you know, it definitely is my favorite image, and just love the image. It's an amazing image for me.
Right on. Well, I want to thank you for being a part of today's episode as well and sharing your mana'o. But right now I want to get more over to the models and see what their story and how you see your work, especially with this picture. So we'll start with you, Rose, if I can. How did you get involved with this?
I mean, I just got the job through my agency, but it was kind of ironic because I go to University of Hawaii at Manoa, and I was actually, at the time of the shoot, taking a Hawaiian religion class with Marie Alohalani Brown. And so we were learning about the Kumulipo and the other Hawaiian gods, so it was interesting to actually be a part of it and playing one of them.
Right on. And what about you, Pumar? How did you get involved with this?
I got involved with this program with Robert through a different series of filming projects. I actually work behind the camera and usually do water work for people filming. I do water safety, and we also help operate jet skis or boats or whatever they might need to film in the water. And that's how I actually met Robert, and I never actually slip in front of the camera, and so this was actually a rare occasion for me.
Your first debut for the world.
Got to slide in front for a little while.
Okay, so I want to just get real deep in this, and playing such a or modeling as someone so profound as Papa or Wakea in our culture. What do you feel your kuleana was for playing your part in this picture? I'll start with you, Rose. What would you think your kuleana was as one who is portraying Papa?
Well, obviously it was really big shoes to fill. She's the Mother Earth, the creator of the Hawaiian Islands and then the Hawaiian people. So it was really important for me. It was really cool to be able to represent somebody who kind of, created my people and show that to the modern world and educate others about it and spread the word.
How was it like during that process? I mean, talking with Robert, he was explaining how long it took to make one picture. But as a model, I'm assuming it's a little bit of different experience for you.
I mean, I wasn't fully aware of what this was all going to be when I booked the shoot, but I go there and I spent time on my hair and my makeup, and then we go there and they're just like, okay, go rinse off at the shower pools. And I'm like, okay, all for nothing. And we go in and it's just like a white paper, and they had these Miley leis flown in from Kauai and just draped it over me, and I didn't know what the image was going to be when I was posing for it. So it was really, really interesting and surprising to see it in the end. I was, he wasn't even there for the shoot either, so it's really interesting.
So you did your shoot by yourself?
Yeah, I did my shoot by myself first, and I was just, lying on the ground, and then, when I got the shoot, I didn't know somebody else was in it with me, and I didn't know I was like this huge background. Yeah, it was amazing.
Wow. Well, what about you, Pumai? Your role is of Wakea and the whole Father Sky and representing the largest and the tallest mountain in the world, let alone just Hawaii. What kuleana do you think you had to uphold?
Well, for me, when Robert had first asked me to play this part, I had originally not given him an answer yet because I felt a large amount of pressure trying to represent this type of a person, or this one of our ancestors like this. And so for me, I felt like I had to maybe spend some time asking to fill this role. So I spent a few days actually thinking about it and going to the beach at night and maybe praying on the inside, if you would, to guide me through this type of an experience. And when I did give him the answer, I didn't exactly know what I was getting into. I didn't know the magnitude of the project or anything. And he told me, yeah, it was just going to be a few shots here and there. We'll do some movements and you'll take a few shots and we'll hang out and talk story. And it's exactly what it was, but for the representation part of it, I felt a large amount of pressure. And yeah, now that so much attention is being given to our Mauna Wakea, I feel like the pressure's actually gotten heavier. So
I mean, with the whole time too, yeah, it's a perfect time within our community to, especially for you, to be able to portray someone as Wake or Papa because of the whole Aloha Aina movement and everything. On that note, keeping and trying to share the message of Aloha Aina and how sacred our land is, what do you think this picture shares in that context? How does this picture really embrace the sacredness of our lands?
Well, I think when you actually see this photo in person, I don't know if you can get a good depth of it on television, but when you actually see the photo and you see the detail and the actual depth of the art that they had to do to create just one photo, it took a lot of time and it took a lot of effort to do all these things. So to actually mix them all up together and come out with such a stunning photo is it's big for the Hawaiian community, and I think that the attention that it draws can be a positive thing if we use it in the right way.
What about you, Rose? What would your manao be?
I mean, it's interesting to see all of the elements coming together. You know, like I'm kind of attached to the land and coming out of it, and everything's blended, and we're just one with the earth, one with the land, and that's kind of what the Hawaiian people were about.
So we have this, and we move on to the next picture to kind of just connect everything. But the next picture we have is of Poliahu. Going in that same context, the story of this picture, I mean, you can see how intricate and yet how simple it is. But at the same time, I can see how I can see the sacredness of what this is trying to entail. What do you think in being part of the production, you know, and going through the whole phase, as a audience member, what would you expect someone to get out of a piece such like this? Or what is your hopes that someone will get out of it, be it Hawaiian or non-Hawaiian, you know, something that's sharing about our Hawaiian culture?
Maybe we can both answer separately if you'd like to go first.
You can go first.
Okay, well, I'll go first. Being that this is one of my favorite photos also, besides they had another photo of Mahina Moon that was also one of my top picks. But I really like this representation because of the snow and how rare it is in Hawaii, and also if you've ever been up there, just the serenity of being up that high, and also being able to experience this temperature in Hawaii, somewhere that's tropic. But I like the detail of it, and the simplicity is, I guess the simplicity is what makes it even more sharp, because you're actually focusing on her, and the fact that we're able to merge the two, like the human element and a natural element, is such a awesome thing to be able to do as an artist, because for some people it's hard to grasp.
Yeah, and I mean, the more I talk with you being part of the project, I just keep thinking what your mindset has to be stepping into the photo shoot day, you know, to see the final result looking like this. I just feel you guys have you guys must have had a really heavy shoulder walking into and you know, just because you know that your responsibility that day is really strong, you know, and necessary though. So what would yours be, Rose?
I mean, I really like this image because, yeah, when you think of Hawaii, you don't think of white snow, you don't think of cold, but when you look at this image in comparison to the other images, it's, yeah, like Pomai was saying, it's a lot more simple. It doesn't have very much in it, whereas the other pictures have a lot of the nature coming out. So I think this is a good image.
Whatever you know of Poliahu, share a little bit about that to see if you can relate with the picture itself. Do you know a little bit about Poliahu?
Well, in contrast to Pele, she is a lot more calm and at peace, and that this image shows that, you know, she's standing like gracefully and, you know, looking up, and just a lot calmer vibe with this and compared to other pictures.
Because I know there's one more picture I want to show after, but since we're on it, the relativeness between Papa and Wakea and Poliahu, how do you feel that would, at least in a project like this, how do they mold together?
I think that they mold together, being that there's such big images for our people. You know, they're the tops of our mountains, and that's what really gets people vision from any side of the islands. You can see our mountaintop. So those things, for whatever island you live on, you start to look up to your mountaintops as your maybe a guardian or a watch over you. Like for me, I grew up near the Ko'olau Mountains, so for me, my heart is with the Ko'olau. And when I drive along the Ko'olau coast, it's kind of where I feel comfortable. But other people, they grow up on different moku. They look up to other mountains above them as guardian, or something that they can look up to every day. And so whatever island you live on, you have these majestic mountains to look towards. But being that the Big Island has so much different activity on it, and being that it snows up there, and you know, that's rare for Hawaii, so it's kind of a big deal for us. So maybe within that aspect, Poliahu maybe isn't always within the islands at all times, but when she does show up, it's a rare, and I guess the word I'm looking for is kind of a majestic occasion.
Yeah. So I want, if we can bring up the Pele piece, because there was something he said, and I just want to point it out for everybody, because I think it's just amazing that we're a small little island in the middle of the ocean, but yet we had climates and environments such as the Papa and Wakea piece and the beauty that entails, and then we have snow, and we have Poliahu and everything that the last picture entailed, and then we have something like this, Pele, lava and fire and strength and versatility, and all within one island, let alone 8 islands, you know. To me, that shows how unique and strong our culture really is. Do you think that this project does justice to how unique our people and our culture really is?
I think that it shows a very large chunk of what our people are capable of and are known to be done. But I think that you have to actually be in Hawaii and maybe feel those things up close and personal. But as far as drawing everyone's attention, I think this project does a very, very good job at drawing the attention to our people and showing the diversity of our culture and showing the different sides of Hawaii. We always have our hard side and our soft sides. So I think this project does very well to show the duality of the Hawaiian culture.
I think that this project does a great job of capturing the beauty of the islands, the land, the people, and the culture. And I'm sure that people who aren't even familiar with the Hawaiian stories and religion and mythology can still guess what these gods represent or these images represent just by the images and how he edited them and what is in them. You can tell what they represent.
The one thing I really dig, and I think it's cool that this project was able to pinpoint it, but in the culture, in Hawaiian culture, I think a really strong concept to understand that Hawaiian culture was brought up with was the fact of duality, and that Robert, or ancient Hawaii, has been able to capture that, starting with Papa and Wakea, to capture both Father Sky and Mother Earth into one picture and understand that it's because of those two characters, or the essence of what those characters represent, to bring them together and find a really balanced median to present to everybody in a successful way like that it is. I think that was a really good job. But also with Poliahu and Pele, like talking with Robert previously, I know that he had a lot of things to share when it came to those pieces with Poliahu. Let's start with Pele and the destructions that she causes, yet the growth and the creation that she gives, and creating that land, and then bringing in Poliahu, giving her own portrait, you know, her own time to have a focus on, and know that it's Poliahu and her nurturing, you know, and her life-giving of water, you know, like what you talked about, the snow on the top of the mountain is the most purest water form that Hawaiians have, you know, that all land entails. So to be able to bring those together and to show everybody that concept on a very high level and a frequency wave kind of that everybody around the world can really connect to in a terms like how these photographs are very clear and kind of like a movie. It's like we took them out of Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or something, you know, so we can connect. So to being able to bring those concepts to a level such as that and be able to portray the culture in so much detail and passion, and I like to think it was a lot of passion that Robert put into it. Were you guys able to bring that much passion as he did to his project? Were you guys able to really be copacetic, you know, working together and you achieving what he's hoping to achieve? Because to me, I don't see any, you know, I see exactly what I would think that you guys wanted. Is that how the production phase went?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was taking a Hawaiian religion class at the time, so I actually understood who I was representing and the meaning of it and the value of it, and I didn't know what the image was supposed to look like at the end, but, you know, just from me, like, posing in the position that I was, I kind of felt the vibe that, you know, I'm a strong creator, you know, Mother Earth, and yeah.
Right on. Okay. There's so much things I want to be asking because there's so much mana'o that I know went into it. However, since the time is going low, I want to just ask one more question. What do you think, what is your hopes that audience will get from this piece?
My hope is that audience will pay attention closely to Hawaii and all of its details, kind of like the photos are. I hope that people can take in all this and maybe start to ask their own questions and start to dig into Hawaii a little bit more. Maybe everyone knows that we're a speck out in the middle of Pacific, but if we can just spark a little bit of interest and get people to scratch through the surface of Hawaii, maybe some of this positive information that we have can maybe help around the world, and maybe they can also help us as islanders to move forward through these hard times that we have ahead of us.
I feel that the point of a lot of the Hawaiian stories was to share knowledge throughout the people. So I'm hoping that these images would help to capture the attention of people, you know, Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians, just anyone around, and to keep people interested, and that 50 years from now, people will still know who Papa and Wakea is and Pele, and, you know, keep telling stories, keep passing down information and knowledge.
Okay. Well, there's just so much, and I cannot get my brain straight on all the questions that I want to ask because there's so many. But for you to be able to see all the pictures yourself and what we were talking about, other than the ones that we've showed you, please go check out his website at www.hawaiiancient.com. And Robert is actually part of an association called Hawaii Culture and Retail Association, which is a group that is really trying to find a bridge between that gap of culture and commerce, or culture and business, and more of a Western world today. So if you have any artists that are, you know, locally born and raised in Hawaii, or even if they're not born and raised, if they live in Hawaii and they have a story to tell and art to share, by all means, tell them email me at kamaka@islandconnection.com, and we can talk more about that and see maybe we can even get them on the show so we can have the whole world listen to their story. If you want to know more about Hawaii Culture and Retail Association, please go check out that website at www.hcra.info, and you can find more about the opportunities that they provide to be able to get your work out with the world and your art into different products to be able to share those stories. Lastly, go check out our Facebook pages. Ancient Hawaii has their own. Go check out facebook.com/Ancient Hawaii. Aloha Authentic, by all means, go check out Facebook, Aloha Authentic, and as well as www.kamakapili.com to see what other cool stuff there is that I kind of do on the side. Other than that, we want to leave you and thank you very much for tuning in for today's episode of Aloha Authentic. Again, this is part 2, so keep an eye out. Go check on the website for part 1 because Robert really gets in detail about this project as a whole. So at that, I'm going to leave you. Again, we got the poi. Remember, always talk positive and share healing with the world. With that note, we just want to thank you and aloha. Mahalo nui. Hui hou.
See the spirit of aloha through the arts with aloha.